I gave birth to a small baby. He was born in the first percentile, which means that 99% of babies were born heavier than him at full term in Australia. Because of his low birth weight, Jalen was admitted to the special care nursery, and he lived there for 10 days until he was discharged. Now that I'm out of the whirlwind of what's known by some as the fourth trimester, I thought I'd share my thoughts on it looking back. I assumed that maternal instincts kicked in straight away. I'd never been a mother before, so I listened carefully to every instruction from hospital staff. I kept a people-pleasing demeanor, smiling and not wanting to create trouble for anyone. When a healthcare worker told me to do this or to do that and this had to be done, I said, yep, sure, understood, go ahead. And I knew that they were the professionals and they were following protocol and they were ensuring the care of my baby. So who was I to question why certain things had to be done or if they could delay the process because of my selfish reasons? It wasn't the day until I was discharged and sent home that I felt this overwhelming feeling that there was something extremely wrong about the situation. My baby was still in the hospital, and here I was in the car with my partner driving us home. We looked back at the car seat and just cried the entire way home. When we got home, we opened the door and we looked at the baby cot and it was empty, and we just broke down again at the entryway. Everything in my body was just screaming, this is wrong. That's when I started to build this narrative in my head that I lost my baby to the system. I imagined that when I would give birth with the assistance of healthcare professionals, that yes, they would be the first ones to hold my baby, but after that, they would hand my baby to me and I would be able to hold him for as long as I was willing to. I imagined that the midwives would tell me, you have this kind of support and call me whenever you need me, and they would be there if I wanted that assistance. I watched these scenes in my head, but I didn't vocalize them, not realizing that these were things I needed to request, that actually I was taking them for granted and I would have to ask for what I wanted. During pregnancy, I took it upon myself to learn as much as possible to prepare for the journey of parenthood. I took birthing and breastfeeding classes. I watched documentaries and videos. I read articles and forums, and I felt so prepared. But the moment I stepped foot into the hospital, all that learning just went out the window. I became the most compliant patient I could, unable to apply any of the knowledge that I'd attained. The benefits of skin-to-skin time, delayed cord clamping, breastfeeding leisurely and on demand, the golden hours. These were all important for the mother and the baby, but they weren't naturally facilitated by the hospital, at least not for me. The hospital looked after the mother and the baby's vitals, but they didn't look after our emotional and physical relationship. Looking back, I realized that we didn't advocate for ourselves strongly enough to try and protect those benefits for us. All those classes and readings and making a birth plan, they were reduced to a tick box exercise for me. I realize now that being healthy and having a smooth pregnancy and going through birth education, making a birth plan, having preferences, that isn't plot armor. Complications and related decision making could happen in my story, and everything mentioned was to help make an informed decision at that moment. With the unfamiliarity and the pressure of the situation and not having anyone ask me for my preference, I was utterly swept up by the hospital processes at the mercy of protocol. The consequence of my inaction was this strange feeling that I couldn't shake for months, that my baby wasn't really mine or my partner's. That upon birth, Jalen was handed to one professional to another and doing this check, getting that treatment. And we as parents were mere visitors to the process, watching on the sidelines and unable to control any detail about what comes next. I knew that he was being well taken care of, but neither Mark or I was being provided reports or updates on his health. I understand that they didn't want to stress us out as new parents, but not receiving any feedback day after day, him living in special care, we were treated as passive bystanders to his health journey. It was until Jalen was home with us and we were able to stop going in for weekly weigh-ins that I finally felt settled and undisturbed by the healthcare system. The internal examinations when I was in labor, my baby taken away from me so soon after birth, the constant rotation of different healthcare staff handling my baby, then there were the routine procedures, the 3-hourly breast milk pumping and delivering of breast milk. All of that just enveloped my entire birthing and initial newborn experience. And I somehow felt that the system had some implied ownership over my body and my baby. All of these important moments were weaved in and bound by the construct of hospital protocols. It wasn't only my genes that carried my Asian heritage, but my compliance as well. Internally, all the well-meaning interventions was a form of control over us, and with good health, our freedom was restored. To clarify, low birth weight isn't an illness. In Australia, low birth weight is something that requires specialized care and monitoring, as everything is about appropriate weight gain. Jalen was actually born with an APGAR score of 9, and in a system where 10 out of 10 is virtually unheard of, he was born with optimal health. My baby has just turned 100 days old. Hey! It's the first Eastern milestone of many and marks the end of the newborn period. This also marks the end of my 4th trimester. It's the hormonal changes, the drastically changed sleep patterns, and the new lifestyle as the new parent. I'm glad everything happened the way it did, and I was able to empower myself through reflection and pave the beginning of a really strong relationship, which I'll treasure as a parent for life. It really was like I just had this sudden realization that my baby was now truly mine. It sounds funny, but he finally belongs to us and he's ours to keep. He's now 100% under our responsibility. His daily routines and approach to his care were our decisions to make, and the amazing hands-on medical support system that we have access to for free now continues to be that option that we take when we need medical support. Being able to fully process and accept what happened, reflecting on it and witnessing my own growth from powerless to powerful and in control was so important for me to have closure on this chapter. Thanks for allowing me to share my story with you. I hope you found something helpful in it. Let me know what resonated with you in the comments down below. And if you'd like, I'd love to read about what your 4th trimester experience was like. Bye now. Ooh.